I know some actors that would not get on that boat without a life jacket. They will demand for it. If you like, call them difficult to work with, call them names, they will demand for it. And that being said, a lot of us will still do it. And I say us because all the small projects, small budget projects that come up, half the time people that are producing these movies are usually friends, colleagues. And when the person is your friend, you kind of want to understand the person's financial status and bend your back for certain things that should be tantamount or paramount on set. You just ignore them because the person is your friend. This could have been avoided. It could have been avoided. That's a whole crew on water with no life jacket. Breadwinners, people's children, people's husbands. It's a really, really sad time for Nollywood. I am beyond. I want to use this medium to say to Nollywood producers, must you shoot? I have not produced a movie in almost 5 years. Apart from the skits that I'm doing, that I do in the comfort of my house or in the streets of Lagos. I haven't produced a movie in almost 5 years. I shot a movie called Malumo. I spent over 6 million naira shooting the film. I didn't make my money back. And that was how I ended it. You know why? Because I would not have people come I think the last time I did the movie was 2019 after I had my son. I will not have people come on set in 2019 and I begged them. Even with 6 million naira, you still have to beg some people to say, please, this is what my budget is. I don't make money. Then in 2020, you want me to still gather people again and still beg them and still tell them, there's no money in the business, and they will still come out based on relationship or based on whatever factor that it is that is making them come out of their houses to come and hustle for their daily 2K. But I will not do that in 2019. Do that in 2020. In 2021, again, I'm calling people to come out, to come and help. Brother, sister, if the business is not good for you, you pack up.
I know we are still on the topic of Junior Pope's demise. And it's quite sad, it's quite sad to see things like this happen. But I think that we are in this area of our humanity where information is freely available on the internet and people share their thoughts and opinions on things that they think is important to them, which I greatly encourage because I do that. Okay, when an incident like that happens, it's good for all of us to look into it and to really understand why it happened in the first place and what we can do to avoid it in the future. Now, some people might take the route of criticizing and blaming one another, which is still good. Anyway, like I have said before, critique is not actually a bad thing, but the way you do it might be good or bad, right? We might say Junior Pope is wrong for getting on a boat without a life jacket. We might say Miss Adama is wrong because she didn't provide life jacket for the crew and the cast. We might say all that, but the bottom line is the deed is done, right? So we cannot reverse it. We cannot go back to it. We can only move forward. We can only learn from this and move forward. We can take this as a painful lesson and then adjust our actions in the future. What have we learned so far from this incident? We have realized that, or we've learned that our lives is our responsibility, that we are the ones to make sure that we protect ourselves, because nobody is going to do that for us. Okay? Your safety, your security should be your number one priority. No one will prioritize your life more than you would prioritize yourself, right? Just get that into your head. You being alive is your own responsibility. You being safe is your own responsibility. You making sure that you are in good health is your own responsibility. Nobody will do that for you. You have to understand that. And secondly, when engaging in any activities, you must be able to evaluate the risks in that activity and to make sure that certain safety precautions have been put in place to ensure your safety and the safety of other people with whom you are working. You must do all that. Okay, you cannot just hear there is a job somewhere and then you just jump to it and start doing things without really re-evaluating the risk factor involved in it. You can't do that, and you shouldn't do that, because doing that might end in your own destruction. You shouldn't do that. You must be able to evaluate everything. You must be able to look at things objectively and say to yourself, this thing I'm about to do is risky. There is risk involved. And I must protect myself first. Now, many people might argue that almost every single thing in life has a certain degree of risk in it. That is true. That is true. Okay. But the fact that whatever you do in life has a certain degree of risks doesn't mean that you shouldn't protect yourself against those risks. You should always protect yourself against risks. When getting on a boat, demand for a life jacket. Ask for it. It is your right. It is even by the law of the sea that when you are getting on a boat, you should put on a life jacket. Like the same thing on board a plane. When a plane is taking off or landing, all the passengers or everyone on board that plane has to be seated and with their seatbelt buckled. Those rules are put in place for your own safety and security. The same thing with a taxi. When you are in a car, you should have your seatbelt in place. But sometimes we from Africa, with our own level of development and the level of poverty and hunger and starvation, we take most of these things for granted, right? We really don't think that these things are necessary until something like the incident that happened to Junior Pope and the crew happens to us. Then we are like, we should have done something to prevent this from happening in the first place. We are always like that. Like, we take things for granted. We don't care about our own lives. We don't care about protecting ourselves until things go wrong, until we are in a deep mess. Then we started saying we should have done this or that to protect ourselves. And that might be a little too late. Wherever Junior Pope and those other crew members are right now in the afterlife, if there is one, they will be saying to themselves, we really made a mistake. We really do. And they will hope that we, still living, will cherish our life. We, the living, will value our life. And we, the living, will take all the necessary precautions to protect and secure ourselves. We will do that. So like I have said in previous video, that my condolence to the bereaved family, and our thoughts and prayers are with them. Now, our only hope is that as from now henceforth, we can take our own personal safety very seriously. We can do things in a safe and secure environment. And if we are engaging in activities that are risky, we must evaluate the risks and we must do things following safety rules and regulations. And also, please, you must understand your right. If people are trying to do things and are doing it in a way that is detriment to your life, you must speak out. If someone is trying to do something with you and that person is not putting your security concern ahead, say something. Do not let it be too late. Okay? Do not say, I wish I had known. Do not say that. So, we will leave it here for today. Thank you for watching and take care.